And Bill Maher has officially taken his offensive shock jock factor comedy tour one step too far. His critics are now furious over statements that the always controversial far-left political commentator made recently on his HBO show Real Time with Bill Maher. Now listen to the ruthless attacks that he hurls at Republicans, specifically two GOP women, Sarah Palin and Michelle Bachmann.
You wrote something in The Atlantic, which Sarah Palin will never read, because why read an ocean?
You watch Bachmann. She's got the action this time. She stands for something. She actually believes in what she says. She's not a fake like a lot of these other ones.
And, and unlike
she's
Palin,
real.
She's not a mean girl. She's a crazy girl with mean ideas. Isn't it a little scary that someone wants to be president who hears God talking to her? Republicans have to stop thinking up intricate psychological explanations for why liberals don't like Sarah Palin or Michelle Bachmann. Let me save you all some time. Are you ready? Because they're crazy people. It's not because they have breasts, it's because they are boobs. But we can't throw around the word sexist just to stop people like me from pointing out that Michelle Bachmann, now running second for the Republican presidential nomination, isn't a dangerous nincompoop. And when I point out that Sarah Palin is a vainglorious braggart, a liar, a whiner, a professional victim, a scold, a know-it-all, a chiseler, a bully who sells patriotism like a pimp, and the leader of a strange family of inbred weirdos. So will HBO do anything to reprimand its host for spewing this hateful sexist rhetoric? Joining me now with reaction columnist for the Daily Caller, Jedediah Bila, and Fox News contributor, co-host of the new show, The Five, Andrea Tantaros. How are you?
Good. How are you?
All right, I've been through this with Bill Maher. I don't want him fired. He can say whatever he wants. Here's, I guess, what we got to examine here is this double standard, because it now is so over the top. It's so vicious. It's so mean. It's so cruel. And I don't hear this coming from conservatives about liberals.
It would never happen. And if it would happen, there would be calls for them to be fired. They would be reprimanded. Look, I think Bill Maher reveals the ugliest side of the far left. He does nothing to help Democrats. He does nothing to help women, even though women's groups sit silent. Look, I think he's a very, very insecure man, desperate for attention. And he calls her, what, a very dangerous nincompoop? He's the nincompoop, but he's not dangerous. He's just trying to be relevant because he's just that angry guy desperate for attention.
He hates God. He hates religion. He smokes pot. He wants to be Hugh Hefner. He's not hard to figure out.
He also hates that the word sexist is being thrown at him. And this is someone who throws the word racist around every chance he gets. Every person who's in the Tea Party is somehow racist because they disagree with President Obama's policies. But when someone sees that he is making vulgar statements about women, Michelle Bachmann and Sarah Palin in particular, and they happen to throw the word sexist around, well, he cowers in a corner and can't handle it.
All right, let's go to some more, a little bit more of what's said on the show to give you just a little bit more of a feel for how bad it gets. Let's roll this tape.
There you go, Fox News, for your blogs this week. You Republicans are like Arafat.
Unfortunately, not exactly like him. I wish they were all up. They're grifters and scumbags.
I don't want to be crass, but I just hope that Marcus Bachmann takes all that, that rage that comes from repression and denial and brings it into the bedroom with her. And I hope he her angrily because that's how I would. And I've thought about it.
Just so you don't get charges of sexism because only Michelle Bachmann was in, I sometimes think about on a Rick Santorum.
Pretty sick stuff.
The lowest form of debate. Just name calling over and over and over. This is probably the lowest of the low, I think, of all his shows. I don't watch him, but just based on the comments that come out, this has got to be the lowest of the low.
I don't know why any conservative would even go on the show, but that's a whole separate issue here. But again, this is like, where's the outrage over Don Imus? One comment, 6:15 in the morning, he apologized. Some people have to get fired, and some people can say anything and they don't get fired. Is it because he hides under the umbrella of I'm a comedian too?
Yeah, it's because he's a liberal also, and they get away with murder when it comes to, I know they'll probably attack that I just use violent rhetoric, but they do get away with murder when it comes to particularly conservative women. They're very much threatened by strong, powerful conservative women. Because I think someone like Sarah Palin, who has strong executive experience, you can't pick on her policy. He would look ridiculous if he did because she has strong, sound policy. So he picks on ridiculous things. The latest thing is to go after her family and her child, which I think is disgusting. And I would like to see some of the strong men in the GOP on the right stand up and say enough is enough.
You know what,
GOP, even on the far left. I mean, where is anybody? I mean, look, Bob Beckel did it earlier on the show The Five. He actually condemned it. But look, you don't hear anybody rise up, as Jedediah pointed out, and actually condemn this. They just let it keep going on.
But let me give you, just imagine, take Bill Maher out of this. This is Sean Hannity saying this, pick any two liberal women. And this is what I say about him.
If you had a choice, a gun to your head, which one is it? Palin or Bachmann?
I would need a gun to my head. I hope Sarah Palin gets in so that they split the MILF vote. But I guess Bachmann, I don't know, who could say, because at least she's somebody who can read. You know, she has a job. She was a lawyer. She's in Congress. She's not someone who just sits there and reads the prayers on her BlackBerry like Sarah Palin. I mean, you know, we're splitting hairs here.
You know, I watched this, and he's got his head so far up Barack Obama, without using his vernacular. You know, he wouldn't know an intelligent person if he saw one. It's like he's got this really, it's almost a dark agenda. Hates God, hates conservatives, hates conservative women, says anything, and thinks that he's funny.
I think it goes a lot deeper than politics. I mean, I'm not Dr. Keith Abloh, and I can't psychoanalyze him, but there's something about him. He talks about sex all the time. You wonder, is this guy frustrated about maybe something else? I mean, did some woman in high school or now that looks like Sarah Palin just completely blow him off? I mean, look, I think the reason why liberals are so angered by Sarah Palin and particularly women are angered by them is because they are so deeply threatening to the far left. They look at women and they say, you should be on our side. You should be pro-choice. How dare you, you traitor.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of the women's groups don't come out and defend them, because places like the National Organization for Women, if you're not a pro-abortion leftist, then they see it, well, we don't need to defend you.
You know what, though? At the end of the day, I think all of this over-the-top rhetoric only helps them. It increases their popularity.
Absolutely.
The base rallies behind them, and any one of them would be a better president than this failure we have, President Crybaby in the White House.
They expose the worst of the far left by doing actually nothing, just being themselves.
Absolutely.
I don't think it hurts at all. All right, thanks, guys. Let not your heart be troubled.